Welcome to MSP Unplugged. Help create business for your company with OITVOIP. I'm your host, Paco LeBron. This podcast is where we discuss different ways to run your IT business, whether you are a one-person shop or have multiple employees. This is the place for you. Let me go ahead and introduce my co-host. We have none other than Rick Smith of Renactness Technology. Rick, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Can't complain at all.
Yeah, I know. Me and you had a conversation earlier about the weather. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's 16 degrees and hazy over here with limited visibility. I think you said there's some ice roads. It's a huge mess over there.
I could complain about that, but who cares, right?
Instead of talking about bad things, let's talk about the good things. And we have none other than our guest today, Ray Orsini, who is the CEO of OITVOIP. And we have Sean Lardo, VP of Partner Development of OITVOIP as well. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, man. Thanks for having us on.
I mean, I'm great. I was waiting for Ray to make a comment about weather. That's what I was really waiting to happen. Like,
it's chilly. I was going to put my OITVOIP sweater on. It's so chilly.
I thought you had one on already. I could see sticking out of your shirt.
I'll put the hockey jersey in the background.
Before we go into kind of talking and learning a little bit more about OITVOIP, I like to talk about my favorite thing, which is TechCon Unplugged. We made the official announcement yesterday that we are officially back September 16th to the 18th in Chicago at the Hilton Rosemont Chicago O'Hare. Learn from other like-minded business owners, get real takeaways to bring back to your business, and honestly, tap elbows to enjoy some one-to-one conversations as we're going to set up some great socials Friday night and Saturday night as well. Tickets are $299 this year. However, we do have an early bird special for $199 until April 4th. We are going to have a great list of partners and vendors that are going to be joining us, some returning, some new. So feel free to make sure to get those tickets while you can at that early bird price. You can now get your ticket at techconunplugged.com. I know we had a little bit of a snafu yesterday, but we got that all updated. And you can also book your hotel at the hotel as well. We did get a great discounted rate for you all, and that's available until September 2nd. So again, head over to techconunplugged.com, or if you go to mspunplugged.com, you'll see the tab on the top for TechCon Unplugged. You'll be able to go ahead and purchase your ticket there. All right. So, gentlemen, OITVOIP. I think that you all have, for those that have kind of paid attention in the channel or have been very involved in several years, should know what you guys are all about. It really says it in your name. However, I think that you all do much more than what you have in the name as well. Why don't you talk about, I'll throw it to either Ray or Sean, on how long has the company been in business and, what do you do? What's your 30-second elevator pitch on OITVOIP?
Well, Sean's the pro at the 30-second pitch, right? That's literally your job. So,
I'm on the spot now. I don't know what to do. I'm so concerned. No, very simply put, obviously, well, you asked a couple questions, but the pitch is simple. We are a VoIP provider. We work predominantly. We are a partner first VoIP provider as well. There's no competition, but we offer two separate programs between a channel and a white label program. We run the gamut on all of what VoIP should consist of. Everything from the normal features you would see, clear up to the Teams integration. We actually launched the Mobile X, which I'm sure Ray will probably talk about at some point. But yeah, we are very much partner first, focus friendly. I think the things that probably stand out about us is nobody that works with us. One of our tagline is "Welcome to the family," and that's for the reason, like, just how we're treating this conversation. We're not here to be stuffy. We're here to work with you guys and understand what you guys want, and how we can better you. That's what it's all about. So
it's funny. So, Paco, you've interviewed tons of vendors and stuff like that. You've been doing this forever. Do you ever notice you get a different story from like the sales and channel people than versus what the CEO says?
Absolutely. It's whatever the CEO has loaded to the VP of development what to say, and then the CEO usually goes off script.
Oh, so much so. That's why I let him do the talking, because we'll be talking Marvel and Star Wars all day.
Yeah, no, hold on. Let me interject on it. So when I started working with Ray, I was down in Miami, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to do a demo. You can watch what's going on." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So he's got his 27 monitors up, like NASA, even though he's not NASA, so it's weird. And he's like, so he's on a call with this guy, and I don't remember the person's name, obviously, and they're talking about everything. and now I'm new to the VoIP. I understand what VoIP is. I mean, in general, right? But he's going back and forth between, and he's always monitors. He's pulling things and he's talking. And at the end, he's like, "So what do you think?" I was like, "I don't know what was the company and the product and what was bullshitting. I have no clue. I have no clue." Because at one point, I think they talked about Sega Genesis. I'm not even sure. And I was like, dude, I don't know how you just did it. And obviously there's that bromance they got going on right there. And I started saying, I love your IT campfire discussions you guys are having all the time. I just don't know what I'm supposed to say at this point. Because should I talk about Sega Genesis, Nintendo 64, or VoIP? I had no clue. So yeah, back to your original thing, Paco. Absolutely, he's off script, and somehow people. I mean, but there's that friendly element, though. You build friendships, you build relationships before you tell anybody anything. If you don't build a friendship,
I want you guys to know how special you guys are. So Sean and I are almost never on any podcasts. I hate doing sales calls with him. Like because we're so completely different, right? I'm just here I'd say it all the time. I'm here for the lulls, right? Like I'm here to have a good time. So we were talking about behind the scenes. It's the whole reason I started the company. I like working with MSPs. I like hanging out, having a good time. I'm tired of the finger pointing of the Comcast usual. We'll get it done between Thursday and September of 2071, right? COVID will be over before the technician shows up and fixes your problem, that kind of thing. And it's like, that's why I do it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, so when Sean and I get on, Sean has his agenda, which he's supposed to do because as a very successful, I can't give him compliments.
Yeah, keep going. Go. Do it.
So, you know what I mean? But it's funny because we each have our own.
Can you finish that? I'll wait.
So, but I'm just, we can talk, Sega Genesis and whatever else all day. I'm good for that. That's why I enjoy working, doing what I do. It's funny. What we do, I can say this with absolute honesty. Sean's seen this firsthand. He's heard me say it. Every new product initiative we have, whether it's UCAS or video or the Mobile X, right? Our cell phone service now, the MVNO stuff tied into the PBX. Everything we do is because somebody showed me something. I'm like, wow, that's pretty damn cool. That seems fun to work with. And that becomes the initiative. Because, nice. I know if I like it, MSPs are going to like it. So, yeah.
No. And so when I was reading kind of a little bit of the background of OIT VoIP, it sounded like you actually had an MSP of some sort in the past, right, Ray? And then this is what evolved into either an extension or that's what took over on OIT VoIP?
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is in complex and distributed networks. I'm MCSE 2003, CCIE voice, you name it. Like anything that was multi-city, multi-state, multi-continent, I built those networks. So I've been doing IT consulting for almost 30 years, way too long. And so, IT consulting, VAR, blah, 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 becomes MSP. MSP, I had a blast doing. I really love what I was doing on the MSP side. Really successful. This is not an MSP turn vendor thing because we couldn't figure out the MSP side and then we went vendor. Just the opposite. We had super high OML. I was doing presentations. We had, 75, 85% contract profitability. I was giving speeches for ConnectWise, Bright Gauge, Sonic Wall, Peak, you name it. I was doing all this stuff, talking about this stuff, and it was working really well. But I realized within a couple of years, I had more fun working with the MSPs than I had doing printer reset, printer jam tickets or password resets, or there's only so many you can do before, you want to drive into traffic. Right. And, especially now you have to put on MFA. I don't want to do MFA. Yeah. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That was me.
So
that was me. Yeah. The MFA part.
Yeah, it's like I don't use the same password over and over. I'm like, I can see the keeper reports. I know you anyway, but, that kind of thing. And so working with that, and because of the voice proficiency and doing installs for my own clients, and then I started working with the cell phone or the telcos, so CBeyond, AT&T, Comcast, you name it, working with them to do installs, and that was my first feeder for MSP. Right, I'd go there, do the activation, and I'd do the IT portion and then sell them on MSP services. It was warm leads. It was great. And then I convinced them to start letting me do pre-quals. Let me go to the sales meeting. Let me tell them you're doing a third-party audit of the systems to make sure what they're selling is going to actually activate and be good. The sales guys loved it, the clients loved it, and I got to do a network discovery without any gatekeeper or anything like that. It was pretty awesome. Imagine door knocking without ever a receptionist saying no soliciting, right? It was fantastic. But I started working with MSPs because they're like, just helping out, right? I'm a moderator on our MSP. I'm in every social community you can name, MSP Geek, IT Pool Party, MRU. I'm in all of them, even the CIPP Slack. And working with all the MSPs, answering questions, I'm like, well, eventually somebody says, can we sell your stuff? Can you install it for us? And we do it. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Okay. And then working with them, I realized it's easier working with the MSP because we're talking geek to geek. I'm not getting BS answers. They're not getting BS answers for me, right? Did you reset it? That kind of thing. Is the cable plugged in? That kind of stuff. Or work on a ticket for an hour and then realize the building didn't have power. That doesn't happen usually when you're working with MSPs. And doing that, I realized, okay, this is better. So started selling more MSPs, doing more partner programs. And in 2016, I said, you know what? I'm out. Like, I'd rather go full on, instead of being a jack of all trades, I want to be a master at one, right?
Sure.
And I said, okay, we're going to do the VoIP. We're going to do the partner programs. Hold on. We had fully fleshed out partner programs at that point. What works, what doesn't. I helped some other big name white label UCaaS companies create their partner programs because I resold other people's stuff in the beginning, right? Cordial, SkySwitch, some of the other ones, I resold their stuff.
Yep.
And good, bad, whatever, had different experiences, but I took all that and I turned it into what became ours. And then when we went out with our own platform, we're not reselling anybody. We own our infrastructure. When we came out with our own platform, I knew what worked. And I said, sorry, some nadas in here. And it became this thing that was just fantastic. And so around 2017, we stopped taking new MSP clients. We still have 3 that I have cancellation notices out to that they haven't responded. We gave a bunch of
I know that feeling.
You're right. Like, I thought like it was bad when you're saying, hey, look, Windows 7's going away, in 6 months we got to replace PCs. That was like silence. Telling clients, hey, we appreciate you, but we got to move on. That's even worse. Anyway, But these last 3 we're going to get rid of. And, so I'm happy to say we've been voice only for several years now, and it's been phenomenal. And like you said, channel only. It's very important for MSPs to understand we're not going to dell you, right? We're not going to go and sell against your clients. We're not going to go, start marketing to them stuff that you're already selling. I had that with another vendor where, they said, okay, well, we're a voice company, but, let's start offering backup and then let's start offering, password management. Let's start offering this. I'm like, stay in your lane, dude. Like, you know what I mean? The MSPs already know what they want to sell. Why am I going to start selling that stuff?
Right.
So yeah, my thing is we'll never put you in a position where you have to apologize or you have to answer, why did my vendor do this? So
yeah, it's amazing on how you say where like there's a lot of vendors that do expand in other services, and although sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it's just you see the quality kind of go down in that service because the concentration has now been split. Rick, has there been any vendors that you've dealt with that you felt like, man, they really they were great in the beginning, but they kind of tipped down to the bottom a little bit?
It's kind of one of those it kind of happens and you can sometimes see it coming. And and it's the sad part because if you're good at something, stay there. Because like you said, once you start taking resources away, you get you screw your customers really if you're not really if you're not really prepared for it or not really good at it. So I try to stay with a vendor. We all do want that. We had that quote unquote single pane of glass thing we're looking for,
right.
But
it'll happen one day.
Yeah, one day, but that'll be the vendor who figures out how to put all you guys together. But
that's never going to happen.
I'm trying to stay.
That's never going to happen.
That's what they do.
You have to get over that dream. That's every MSP's dream. It's never going to happen. There's never. It's not Amazon, man. And
I don't. Okay.
Ray said it's his pet project.
So here, hold on here. I think that is possible. I don't think there's going to be like one distributor to rule them all. I don't think there's going to be like one vendor that's going to sell everything under the sun. But, actually Tim Golden in the chat, I saw him, he said 2022 is a year of APIs for MSP. I'm like, well, API was, that should have been 2017, but, between Power BI, or not Power BI, Power Automate, horrible naming.
I mean, they change it
Zapier,
every
Roost.
freaking 3
Yeah,
months
yeah.
too. So
Wait, I think they just changed it again. But between all those things, we have an open, RESTful, fully documented API, of course. But between all the things, I think you start getting these projects like CIPP, and or you can take easily Grafana or someone else, and you can start creating your own pane of glass. And I think the vendor that says, I'm not going to try to sell you everything, but I'm going to be able to bring all that stuff into a single orchestration platform, leveraging the different vendor APIs, I think there's a market there. And I think that's what MSPs would appreciate. Don't sell it to me. Just give me access to control it so I don't got to log in swivel chair into 17,000 different things. That's really a difference too. I know we've all heard the MSP turn vendor. It's a joke at this point, right? It's a meme, right? You sucked at MSP, so now you're a vendor and doing that thing. My thing is, and I get it. I've said it myself. I get it. But my thing is, like, because we did the MSP thing, because I run the MSP stuff, the MSP subs and all the social stuff keeps me close to the bone, so I can appreciate what the MSPs are trying to accomplish. You know what I mean? So I understand the workflows. I understand the complaints. I understand I'm not going to name the distributor, but you try to get an Office 365 license on Sunday and it takes 6 hours to provision for some reason. And, you got to go kick Susie in provisioning or whatever. We understand those things. So we try to build things to make your lives easier. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
I think the MSPs we work with appreciate that.
And really how you just said, like, making lives easier. And, Sean, as far as how the company really tries to help MSPs that are in IT service providers out there, how does OIT VoIP help save them either time or money? Because it sounds like there was a really big piece that Ray mentioned that I think I want to make sure that nobody goes over, is that you guys own your own infrastructure. You're not reselling anybody's stuff. So, I mean, that's a huge thing to mention, because there's a lot of VoIP providers that have kind of come into this space that are reselling other platforms, or they're kind of hooked onto things or whatever. Can you share a little bit more about how that, with how the business is orchestrated right now, is saving IT service providers money and time?
Sure. Actually, and Rick can attest to this, because Rick and I have spoke before about all this stuff. It first starts with the initial conversation. Before you're even a partner of ours, the first conversation we ever have it's a vetting process for both of us. It's very transparent. We're here to discuss what's going on with you. What do you need done? Make sure we're a good fit. Talk about the ins and outs, knowing everything to make an educated decision on your end and our end, because you have to understand what the responsibilities are, whether you're going channel or white label. And that's another part of this conversation. But, fact of the matter is, I've been in the channel space for a long time, and I've seen a lot of vendors just go to shows and recruit partners. They have a huge party, sign up here, nothing ever happens, right? And that's great. I mean, you got some free drinks, you got some free food. So it's all cool site if you're in Vegas or wherever you are, right, at the show. But end of the day, you're there to run a business. You are a business owner. Right. So we do treat it that way. That's first and foremost. And also setting the expectations, the right expectations of how we're going to interact together. Before I even got here, Ray and Tima did a really nice job at building out the infrastructure. The technology was good. The channel program was doing well. The whole goal for us was to start scaling, but make sure we didn't destroy ourselves in the same process, right? By just overwhelming ourselves. So over the course of the last couple of years, we implemented the ability. We tried to automate as much as we can while not losing the human personal touch, because we're here to work together. There's not a single business I've ever done that I haven't been shoulder to shoulder with a human next to me somewhere helping me, right? It doesn't happen very often. So we didn't discount and take that out of it. We left that in there too. Our team is dedicated. 95% of our company is dedicated to client and customer success and partner success. Fact. Whether it's tech, whether it's operations, whatever the hell it is, our sales and marketing group is smaller than people would expect it to be, because we focus so heavily on we've really relied on people knowing that we do a kick-ass job. And the way we do it is, some things we focused on was the velocity, and by velocity, I mean, when you sign up with us, no matter what it is, you're either, if you go as a channel partner, a lot of people come to us as they want to become a channel partner because they have an opportunity that's in need of service. And they're like, hey, I've never sold VoIP. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. We'll hold your hand first off and take you through it. Because again, back to something you'd mentioned earlier before we started this, they're concerned about VoIP problems, the 10 years ago problems, right? So we really went to the point of making sure if you're working on opportunity, we're going to get you signed up with us today as a channel partner, which has no obligation to anything other than we'll work with you. And if you close a deal, we'll pay you, which is great. We'll assign you an account manager. We'll assign you the client success team. That all happens within 24 hours of you meeting me, signing the agreement. And we can already have a quote out, a proposal out to your customer as quickly as you can do a quote request form. So that's one part. If you go white label, and again, I've been in the channel space for a long time. I've seen onboarding of people like that are in a white label type program take 6 months to a year, which is, I don't understand how it's so long, but we're able to do, and he's making the face, but it's so true. And we're able to get people from signing to selling within 30 days as a white label program. That's us setting up all their stuff as if they're their own entity. Okay.
You should really rename that, right? Because the whole thing, the minute we say that sign to sell within 30 days, we really mean you sign with us and you have active billing within 30 days, like you're billing your clients.
Yep.
Which is, and that's one of the things too, we work on so much. We talked pre-show, right, about FUD, right? Oh, because you're going to have taxes and you're going to have this, and a lot of people, including vendors in the space, do a lot of work at making sure MSPs are terrified of VoIP, which is ridiculous to me. And, and I fully accept, it's going to be a lot of taxes and a lot of compliance and a lot of overhead. And when the client complains, they're going to call you, because as an MSP, the client doesn't call you anyway. I mean, that's the whole point.
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of burden on your help desk and all this nonsense. And so it's funny because, I warned Sean about this before he came, because Sean and I were friends a long time before he joined the family. And I warned him about it. And then he saw it firsthand when doing these calls of like, they're going to talk to you and they're going to tell you their bad experiences with VoIP. Vendor was unreliable, took too long to onboard, didn't pay attention to the client, blah, blah. And they were scared about it. And then, or the program changed, right? Like we've seen the 3CX, you wake up on a Tuesday and the program's different from last week. And, that kind of thing. Or the program changed on them, bad taste in their mouth, and they stayed away from it. But now they have an opportunity because their clients are asking for it, but they don't want to do VoIP. They just want us to hand it off, take over everything and make some money off of it. No big deal. And then eventually, they're going to like it and they're going to want to go channel partner. They're going to want to go white label. They're going to realize how much money. And some MSPs actually stop doing MSP and just go full VoIP. I've seen that whole ecosystem, and we tell them up front and they laugh like, no, I would never do that. Every single time. And then, because remember that, okay, so C-level, DIPL, all that stuff, MSP best in class profitability is 70%. If you have 70% contract profitability, you are the upper creme de la creme of MSPs. When I say we were at 75 to 85 for my MSP, I mean it. And that's why they had me speaking. In white label, you can be expecting 85 to 95% profitability on your VoIP stuff. You know what I mean? And so smaller numbers, higher volume, easier sell, right? Life cycle of an MSP contract, 6 to 12 weeks is what it takes to get it, between discovery and proposal and objection handling and blah, blah. VoIP, we've sold same day, active service same day. Most aren't like that. Most take about a week, but it's much faster, so higher volume. And I'm not saying get rid of your MSP practice. I'm saying it's a huge moneymaker for not a lot of work. And that's the whole reason we have the channel and the white label, because wherever you're wherever you want to be in your stage in life, we can accommodate it. And forget that we have both programs. That's one thing, right? We had 2 doors to get in the building. Okay, fine. We have a migration path to go from one to the next. So the minute Rick says, okay, I'm done, billing my clients as channel partner, I want to go white label, we have a ready-made letter. You email out to them. We've had such great success with the platform. We want to take more direct control. We're ready to offer this under us directly as of, what are we in January? We're in January. As of February 1st, we're now going to be your direct contact for all billing and support. They don't have to change logins. You don't have to re-provision phones. They just go to the website you give them. They log in with their same credentials. Everything works the same. The hardest thing you have to do is set up billing again. It's easy. And people think I'm crazy for saying how easy it is. And it really is. Half the people in the chat right now are white label partners of ours.
It's funny, yeah. The chat is the liveliest I've seen in a long time, going back and forth. So definitely have a lot of fans and of the product and the business. But not to cut you off real quick, because I want to unpack a lot of the things you just mentioned. Is improving MSP services and improving IT service provider services. And hear me interchange those two, because I feel that some, either whether they love it or hate it, they hate the term MSP, they hate break fix, they hate whatever. We're all IT service providers, call it a day and put it in stone. But I think what you mentioned is a couple things. One, and I being one of those as well, is trying to resell VoIP. There has been all this advertising, or there's been this experience from bad vendors that they have partnered with, that VoIP is a pain in the butt and trying to deal with it. But at the same time, you're going to deal with it one way or another, as you just mentioned, because either the client is going to go on their own and they're getting nowhere with their vendor, and they're thinking, oh, my IT guy speaks tech, it's a tech issue, let me see if they can figure it out. Now you're doing your vendor management. And if you offer vendor management in the first place, why not take that on as your product line anyway? Because they're going to call you regardless, right? Now, I think the ability in this space is, if you build a relationship with the VoIP company, now you can actually understand some of the in and outs, and you're standardizing onto your product, right? I think that's the huge piece of that. Two, I think a lot of people don't understand, on, like you mentioned, the profitability of VoIP. We have a member in our community that whichever VoIP company he has been with, and Rick knows who I'm talking about, is this man sells more phones for that company for God knows, I don't know what the quota is, and he's taking trips because he's able to relay that information on how important VoIP is, and we're astounded on how he does it. And it's amazing that he has that product line as a big chunk. And again, this is an assumption, I don't know, I have to get him on the show to ask him about it, but from what we've talked about, he is really speaking about that big chunk of business is coming from VoIP. And that is such a huge testament to say, this is an area where, if you're tired of, like you said, the printer resets and all this stuff, it's a viable line item that you can go to. But you also made a very good point on jack of all trades and really narrowing it down to a particular niche that you want to do. You don't have to focus on everything. If there's something where you want to focus on VoIP and X, focus on VoIP and X. You can be profitable on that. I think there's a lot of opportunity available for that. And what you just mentioned as well, improving IT service provider services, is not only do you have your program, but you have the white label program as well that can allow them to decide what they want to do. So I think they're all very big pieces on understanding that VoIP isn't this big evil that you're trying to figure out how to combat. There's a lot of vendors in the channel that are willing to help you and help you understand how that works. So, and I think that's a big testament to what you guys have talked about today.
No, I appreciate that. And I want to point something out, because I think a lot of, and this again comes back from experience, right? I think some vendors do it wrong. There's some vendors that'll sell it, and of course I think that, right? I'm a vendor, of course I think other people do it wrong. But there's some vendors that carve it out and say, okay, well, there's a well-known master agent that I think is a good master agent, but they have programs where, like, if you provide support, you get paid X, and if we provide support, you get paid Y, and blah blah. I want to be real clear on our channel program. The client can call us directly, or they can call you. You get paid exactly the same. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's on us to be able to support the service and provide, meet the expectations that we've set. So that's happening no matter what. Now, whether you want to be the one delivering it or you want us to be the one delivering it, it doesn't matter. We don't treat the accounts any differently. We don't pay you any differently. That gives a lot of flexibility, because let's say, you start up with us today, right, Paco, and you start up with us today, and we handle the first onboarding, and then you get really comfortable with it over a month or two, and you got, half a dozen clients on. So you're pretty adept at being able to manage everything, that single pane of glass, right? We were talking about with Rick, like you have the full multi-tenant management, so you can log in and do everything. But then December comes and you're planning on that vacation, right? You're going to be out of the office, or that key resource you had that was handling all the VoIP stuff, that subject matter expert's going on vacation. And suddenly you don't have to worry about, okay, my clients are calling me. You can tell them just dial 611 and we'll take care of it. Or you can put in tickets on their behalf. it doesn't have to be a burden. So it's never a one or the other kind of thing. White label, white label, you're doing 100% of the support. We're your T3, but we train you on all that stuff. That kind of flexibility, I think, is a key element that a lot of other programs miss. That, because not everybody's a 50-person IT shop, right? There are plenty of one-man bands out there, one-woman bands. So having that flexibility where you can be the contact, but you can pass it off when you have a busy day or something like that, that's a big deal. And they're still going to get, I've talked about this MSP time versus telco time, right? Telco time, we'll get to it between Thursday and, the next harvest moon. MSP time, it needed to be done yesterday, right? We still work on MSP time. So if the client calls you and you have to say, okay, well, call 611, they'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about us leaving a ticket holding for 5 days. We don't do that. We have our average response is under 5 minutes per ticket. So, again, never putting you in a situation you're going to have to apologize for. That gives a lot of, that gives you a lot of confidence as the MSP to go out and sell more and make more money, because you don't got to worry about what's going to happen or all my clients going to get pissed off one day. It doesn't happen with us.
Let's go one step further on that too, though. So he's mentioned about dealing with the client, but let's take it to how we deal with our partners. First off, MSPs have a lot of questions. Some are reasonable and some are, I don't know what they are. And I learned that a long time ago. It's a running joke about when we talk about APIs and integrations, I'm not integrating into your toaster. I'm not going to make bagels for you while you make phone calls. That doesn't make any sense, but we do provide a level of service. We try to make sure we can communicate on all medias where people should belong, right? So obviously we're pretty active within, Ray mentioned a bunch of different social media pieces between Reddit and whatnot. So Reddit, whether it's Reddit, Slack, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, we're basically everywhere. But we also have our Discord group. That's a private Discord group for all of our partners to be involved. And the thing is, it's a great group to be in. Everybody signs up with us, whether channel or white label, gets access to this group. And it's another layer. It's another layer of getting support, because there's a lot of your own peers. We're all on there too, but your peers are on there too. So chances are, if you're seeing a problem, they've seen it already, and you can ask those questions. And it's not just VoIP related, by the way. We never, honestly, this is the most we probably have ever talked about our company and product on any show at this point, I think, ever.
It's true.
It is true. Actually, when I met Rick at ASCII, we talked for 25 minutes about nothing else. And he goes, "What do you do?" I was like, he's like, "Oh, okay." We were talking about his daughter not being able to get her flight. We were talking about Jersey. I was talking about how I met Lawrence Taylor, and he was already drinking at 10 a.m. and smoking a cigar, which was amazing. And I found he got arrested recently because he lives in hotels, I found out. But anyway, the thing is we don't push that. So when you go to our Discord group, even, there's 25 different channels in there of talking about food, dumb MSP shit, take your whatever. And I warn every one of our new partners that comes on, they're like, "Oh, you mean I can go submit questions?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can talk to everyone. It's a community." Absolutely. I said, and I always warn them, just don't say something really dumb, because they'll make fun of you. You're gonna get blasted. I remember 2 years ago for IT Nation, some guy was trying to figure out, IT Nation's at the same place every year. It's never, I don't remember it ever being anywhere else. And this dude thought it was in Texas. And he's like, I can't find it. And everybody just started destroying him in Discord. They gave him different map settings, different coordinates, everything. Oh, there's the Discord right there. So yeah, there's the food part. See, that's what I'm saying. So there's constant engagement. It also gives immediate responses. If we're not on, if it's the middle of the night, our partners, you guys don't sleep. It's the weirdest thing ever, ever. And they all start responding.
I don't either. Yeah.
Well, right. Yeah. I'm messaging Ray at 11, 12 o'clock at night. He's messaging me at 4 a.m. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, no, it's very good. We've done we've been very fortunate and blessed with a lot of good partners that actually are champions of ours and answer a lot of questions. And they're very welcoming to, when people sign up for the first day on our Discord channel, there's a slew of our MSPs that get on and they welcome them. They're like the welcoming committee. We don't even have to anymore.
Nice.
And we don't even pay them for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just speaks to, and Rick can kind of dive into this too, is that, community matters, right? And I think we see it first front in the chat. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people that are, just shooting the stuff and really just getting to understanding on, hey, this is like you said, it's a family. And that's how we kind of view a lot of our communities as well. And it's a big piece of that. And you can see that. Rick, As far as community, what I think we talked about that a little bit on the last episode, yesterday's episode, but kind of gearing what they're talking about, how impactful has communities been on you making a decision on a product or service?
Oh, definitely. It plays a major role. Now, I was over, people might see me smiling every now and then because I'm reading the comments from the chat, and these guys are going back and forth, and I'm just laughing at some of the comments because it's obvious that Ray and Sean are familiar with who's on. They're friends. They're having a friendly chat here, and I'm just laughing. But that is a big deal. It makes it sets in a level of comfortability for you if you know that there are others like you who are, vouching or giving you some feedback on a product to use. So that's definitely important. I wanted to get back to one thing that's important. I've been like on the teeters of VoIP for a long time, and I've watched, and Sean, you and I had this conversation, I've watched clients of mine get VoIP from somewhere else. And then it becomes, and I say this to every MSP, now I'm saying, even if they get it from another person, you have nothing to do with it, it becomes your problem. Because once something goes wrong, they're calling you. And, I could think of a particular VoIP company that I won't mention, but every time a client reaches out to them, they can't get them on the phone. They have to text them. And they say always, it's something with your network. It's something with your network. Call your tech.
The finger pointing.
Like, right, exactly. And so my thing is, I'm saying to them, okay, I can't support this because I don't know what it is. There's nothing wrong with the network. But,
is it an industry specific software and phone company?
We've had this conversation. Okay. I just don't want to blow anybody up on the internet like that. But we've had this conversation. And, every 2 or 3 days, I get the issue. And I've trained the receptionist to say, hey, her first thought, it's not Rick. It's not his fault. He has nothing to do with this. But my point is,
it makes you look bad, right? But you have an unsupported firewall. The firewall that the person that introduced the VoIP vendor just put, you know what I mean? Like, how am I going to make you look bad when you walked me in the door to sell the service?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that drives me nuts. And what you're saying, like, we tag all the accounts, so it's on our support tickets. We know exactly who the channel partner is, so that if we, and Rich and Dan and the guys in the chat can attest to this. If the client calls and it is something that we think may be a network issue, right? Like a dead port in the wall, or we're seeing like, they say, oh yeah, because we rebooted and everything's fine. We'll say, okay, no, I see Rick's your IT person. We're going to reach out to them. We're going to give the information. We'll work it out with them. If we need we'll get back to you if we need to. But if there's something technical, we'll go back to the channel partner and talk to them. Why torture the client with that? And more importantly, why make you look bad? And let me give you a quick, I apologize for cutting you off, but let me give you a quick, my daughter loves this, that she calls it the box of donuts speech. Can you imagine a world where the VoIP vendor's talking to the client says, yeah, because we're trying to get this ready because we have this new initiative coming up and we're going to be moving buildings and we need to get all this new equipment. We need to contact the IT vendor. And we say, and you get a call 5 minutes later saying, hey, Rick, by the way, I talked to Susie. I just want to make sure they're planning to move and they're planning for this budget for this big rollout just to make sure you're on the same page. Like, could you imagine that extra set of eyes? Or, God forbid, Susie's complaining about her IT provider. Never would be one of you guys. We know that. But, Susie's complaining about her IT provider and blah, blah. And, you get a call again from us and say, hey, look, we have a red flag policy for this. Call and say, hey, I'll stop picking on Rick. Hey, Paco, Susie
it's more likely for me.
She mentioned this incident. So you can, just out of the blue, show up with a box of donuts and say, hey, I just wanted to come by and say, I appreciate you guys and check on how things are doing. Could you imagine having that extra set of eyes and ears from your vendor? And that's how we roll because we were an MSP first. I get it. It's all one big family to us. We're never going to put you in a bad position. We're going to make you look like superstars every chance. And I know a few vendors. I see Alex in here. Lifecycle is freaking amazing. But, how many vendors can you say look out for you like that? Forget the VoIP stuff. VoIP's easy. But the other stuff, the supporting your business, building revenue, and actually protecting your revenue, show me another vendor that does that.
And it goes back to what I've always said is that we shouldn't be looking at vendors as a transactional occurrence, it's a partnership, and it should be a two-way street. As much as and I get so, there's my rant box. Oh wow, I'm channeling my Jeff Hallish today. So basically, what really gets me really just peeved is that a lot of us in the MSP space are cheap. We're cheap and we're
Nah.
not frugal.
No, you're not.
So it's like,
no, you're
conscious.
not. That's bull, Paco. You guys spend all your money on really smart investments.
oh yeah, exactly. Like, what are we doing with this anyway? So, but
Versus us doing it on
it's
purpose.
such a huge, it's such a huge pain point of mine, because I see people talk about how they won't invest in Office 365 or Google for $4, $5 a month, but then they're trying to find a free solution because they switched to whatever other service and they left them in the doghouse or whatever. But like, the point I'm trying to gather is they're always looking for, what can I get free to resell to make money? And it's always a transactional piece and understanding what the value is of whatever you're trying to put in there. There's going to be investments made. There's going to be an ability to it. And what you just spoke about, Ray, is that you're not looking at just the cost of VoIP. You're looking at the cost and the value of a partnership. We as MSP IT service providers should want to make sure that we do business with you and make sure your business is growing, making money, because you may not be around if we don't continue to keep, hemming and hawing at the pricing and things of that nature. And in reverse, you are providing that value and the ability for us to maintain clients, maintain the ability to stay sticky with this product line that we have. I mean, and I'm using OITVOIP in this example, but that's with any vendor. I mean, it should always be a partnership, and you should like to do business with that company or with those people. I have personally taken my money from vendors and moved them to other vendors because I like doing business with people and the company culture and the way that they've done things. And that has really allowed me to just understand that I'm doing business with someone that I can respect, that's not going to leave me hanging. And if I needed to call the bat line, I have a bat line to do so. So with all that said, I think that, we're coming up on about 15 minutes to the hour. Why don't we talk about how can our listeners join as a partner or join the partner program over at OITVOIP? Are there any commitments? I don't know if you can discuss pricing on here, which probably wouldn't be wise because it'll be on the public internet. Contracts, requirements. How can they be a partner of OITVOIP?
No, first off, we don't care if things are publicly about that. We're very back to being very transparent. And again, Rick knows because we went through conversations. There's nothing hidden. Everything we discuss, we share in actual writing. It's not like, hey, there's none of that. And before we even go to that, something you'd said about the value. The reason why I think MSP, anybody, not even just MSPs, but people, they tend to not want to spend a lot of money is because they really didn't buy into what you're talking about. You haven't really established enough value. And value doesn't come just in product, it comes in relationship too, knowing that they're going to be there. It's kind of like a personal trainer. You pay a lot less to buy some videos that you can watch to get yourself in shape than to pay a physical person to train you, right? I mean, that's just a fact. Why do you pay more for a person to train you? Because they're going to be with you side by side, encouraging you, helping you, ensuring your success. Big difference in the two. That's one part. But come back to how they can get with us. It's pretty simple. You go to oit.co, right there, and Ray's pulling up the thank you, right, on cue. And when you go on, you'll see the tabs as partners. You can schedule time to speak with me anytime. I will talk about everything. Me, Alex, she's available. I mean, again, we'll share all the information we have. You will not walk away from the conversation without knowing who we are, what we do, how we do it, what the expectations are. Rick, when we talked, he's kept on repeating the dollar amount he would make because our commission one way, and he was like, I can really make this much more. We were talking about his existing business. That's the sad part. We were talking about his existing business. He's like, I can't get over this amount. I can't get over this amount. I'm like, yeah. Then he thought I was like bullshitting him, of course. I'm like, here, let me show you. And I gave him. We provide a calculator. We provide a deck. Do your own damn math. Here's your cost. Here's our price schedule.
Sean gave me so much shit for the calculator so I had this big like multi-tab calculator, right? And it's like, because I'm a numbers guy, I'm an engineer. Don't tell me I'm going to make money. Give me percentages. Give me, raw values, what I'm going to expect. And so like for white label, you can see how you're going to get your, be in the black by month 3, month 4. And like if your channel partner white label, like we have all these calculators in this Excel sheet. It's a monstrosity. I should make it in the web. But this calculator shows you exactly what you're going to make and how you're going to make it, what your hard costs are, and what's going to happen. And so when I'm explaining this to Sean, and it's not just Sean, when I'm explaining this to anybody on the sales team, their eyes glaze over. But when we're showing an MSP, you say, okay, well, look from VoIP vendor 1, you're making this, you're doing this. And if you put them here, this is what you're going to make from us. It's in black and white. It's right there. And we don't do any of this with an NDA, just so you know. That first call that you schedule with Sean, that you schedule online, there's no sign an NDA and then we can talk pricing. He'll talk pricing with you on the very first call. We're not putting it out publicly because we don't want to hurt any channel partner or white label relationships out there with your clients. Of course, that's the only reason it's not public. But sure, you get on that call and say, Sean, just give me the numbers first.
Yep,
he will. That's the way we roll. That's not.
Well, again, you have to back to not wasting your time or my time. If you're going to nitpick on stupid stuff, then I don't want to. We're probably not a good fit, right? But that's the thing. So, and you asked about what it cost. So if you go channel partner, there's no obligation to anything. There's no cost. There's no monthly minimum. There's nothing. You're signing an agreement that if you do want to start doing business, you can bring business at any given time, and we're going to work with you. We're going to ensure that everything goes from A to Z. That we will control as much as you need us to, and teach you how to run it yourself. And you sell, we pay you for life of the customer residuals every month. Doesn't matter. And back to what Ray said earlier, we have plenty of your customers that will email us to add on stuff. And we just do it, and you get paid for it. It shows up in your portal. It exists. Oh, I went from 5 seats to 7 seats. I didn't know that. It happens sometimes. On the other side of things, though, when you look at white label, that's when you're establishing your own business. There is an investment. There is a commitment, right? We charge a setup fee, $2,500. That's us building out your portals, branding it, also training. One thing I would say about our training is if you compare us to anybody else, we do far more with our partners to get them to be successful. We are here to teach you how to fish, but we're also there to hold your hand as long as needed to be successful. We charge that, but we also put you on a 2-year agreement. We have monthly minimum consumptions. We have a white label starter and a white label pro. So we do offer the ability for you to scale as you go. The difference in the two would be your per seat cost is higher with the starter with a lower monthly minimum, and with the pro, it's more expensive for the monthly minimum, but cheaper for the seat. And what Ray had even mentioned before, if you do it right, if you don't lowball your own self and devalue your product or your offering, and you charge us regular reasonable rates. And that's the nice thing about VoIP. VoIP is pretty standardized as far as what seats cost based off your area. It's not like the Wild West, like some MSPs, when they charge their average user costs. Some people are charging $30 and some people are charging $1,000. I don't know how you have that range, but it exists. Whereas VoIP, it's phone service, and those prices are standardized. So if you're charging $24 to $30 a seat, which is pretty much industry standard across the nation, you're gonna realize a 70 to 90% margin, depending on where you are. It's very easy. And the other thing is it's standardized to the point of, and we give you our price points. It's in the presentation deck that Rick has already. I'm like, this when we're channel partners, we work with channel partners. This is what we go in the door with their clients. We're going to go with these prices. We will help you win deals, of course, based off of realistic expectations. So if we have the discount, it needs justified, because how many times you guys have been around long enough to see it. You watch the commercial from Comcast and Verizon starting at $18.99, and then your customer's like, yeah, I love Verizon. I'm going to go with them. And then they say, okay, I'm going to go after it. I need to get one more feature out on like auto attendant. Oh, that's an additional $5. I also need call routing. Oh, that's another $10. Now they went from $18.99 to like $35 in like 2 requests. And then they come back around and say, you know what, you should probably just go with our business premium. For you, it'll fit you. It's $45 a seat. No big deal. You get everything. Well, what the hell is everything? They only need like 2 other features. Whereas for us, we include everything. And Ray's showing you the price schedule right here. These are our price plans right now.
That's not white label costs. This is what goes out to the public.
Yep. This is the public. This is what we go to end users with, $24.50, and we suggest you guys do it as well. But simplify your plans because it'll help you quote faster as well. It's pretty simple to do math when you say, oh, you have 5 of you. Okay, but you don't need like the additional, like the digital faxing or anything. You need the regular features of auto attendant, call routing, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that's our bundle plan. Right there, $24.50. That's times 5. This is your price. Done. Why mess it up?
Nice.
And that's
and I
that's the
think
other thing
we're
with the
right
developer.
now the only ones with the mobile service. I know we like it's one of my favorite new features. So your cell phone as an extension of the PBX, not a soft phone. I'm not talking about any apps. I'm talking about your native dialer, your 4G service going through the PBX for unified call records, auto attendance, transfers, call recording, reporting, the whole thing. It's an
Mhm.
extension of the platform. Um, it's data, the whole thing, all there. I think right now we're still. I know for a fact of the majors that happen with MSPs in the MSP scape, we're the only ones offering it right now. So it's pretty awesome.
Awesome.
It actually is
Well,
awesome.
gentlemen, I think that we're coming up to the top of the hour here. There's one question, one thing I want to leave it with Tortoise and Hare software that they said, put. Did someone put a new comment here?
Put some skin in the game, and you put
there you
more
go.
into it and value it more.
But exactly. So I think it says it best on what we're trying to do here, and what you guys are trying to accommodate, and just with the value of your services. But before we leave off the show, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you may want to dive into before we end off the show?
I'd say from my perspective, get involved in our communities. Even if you're not going to be a partner, go. First off, we have our own YouTube channel. We have tons of videos. We bring vendors on to talk about what they do to try to help you guys. Just engage. I mean, even if you never become a partner of ours, again, we're none of us are Jeff Bezos, so we're not multi-billionaires. So we're here to help each other for the most part to try to succeed. So I would suggest you get engaged, talk to our friends. There's some of our friends on here, and you should be part of that stuff so you can help each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap with my personal soapbox for the moment. Again, vendors have a responsibility to support their vendors have been calling MSPs partners for the last 10, 15 years easily. Very few actually do it. Lifecycle Insights absolutely does it. I can name a handful of others that do it. But my thing is, if you're going to work with any vendor, period, this is not voice vendor specific, make sure that, and they sell direct, make sure they have a published channel conflict policy. How are they going to handle things if they come across a marketing lead that is who you're coming across? And because I'm a firm believer in, put up or shut up, have them have something, because the last thing you want them doing is competing with you. You know what I mean? I have zero tolerance for that. So.
Very good points. Very good points. Rick, anything you want to leave off?
No, I think it was a great discussion, and I think these guys have a great product, but I think the conversation was more than just VoIP, and I appreciate that from you guys.
Absolutely.
No, for sure. Gentlemen, I really greatly appreciate you making the time to come onto the show. I think we kind of discussed on how they can go ahead and be a partner and such, but if they wanted to go ahead and reach out again, what is that website, or if they maybe want to reach out to one of you?
Sure. OIT.co is the website. So pretty easy. OIT.co, can't get shorter than that. I guarantee Ray right now is typing in the chat because I see him typing. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. Also, you can find us everywhere. If you want to go to the MSP subreddit, you'll see Ray all over the place. If you're involved on Facebook, all the MSP groups I'm in, so by all means, you can find me there. And then, if you want to email directly, Sean@OIT.co, that's probably the best route to go. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm over all the socials, you name it. MSP pool, IT pool party, MRU, Reddit, RMSP, MSP Geek. Hit me up. I'm OIT Ray everywhere. So yeah, I'd love to have a chat, and we can talk VoIP too, or just talk about anything else.
We talk about whatever. We talk about, we got to hear from Ray about his new cooking style for about a year or whatever that was. That sous vide. I don't know.
Sous vide. Yeah, man.
Sous vide.
Dude,
hey,
that
so random interjection real quick. If you ever want an entertaining cooking show, watch the guy that's called Sam the Cooking Guy on YouTube.
I love that guy.
Oh, he's amazing.
That big round black top.
Evo.
Oh my
yeah, it's a.
Yes.
Oh, we could talk about the rounds. Oh, he's so entertaining. But anyway, great cooking. If you guys want some cooking tips on every day today, go to that guy. That guy's great. But no, gentlemen, really appreciate you all coming on here. Rick, if everyone wants to know what you're up to nowadays, where they can go ahead and reach out to you.
Yeah, I'm about to give my plethora of emails. But for anything, you can reach me at rick@renactus.com, and I'm going to give my usual speech. If anyone out there has any questions, suggestions, complaints, anything that you like for us to take into account going into TechCon or going into the show, any suggestions on vendors or techs that we should bring on, please send an email to info@mspunplugged.com.
Very cool. Again, everyone, really appreciate you tuning in. Come join us every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Central starting next week. Watch the video podcast over at youtube.com/MSP Unplugged. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you never miss an episode, as we have a special one today that was out of that schedule. So you got to make sure you hit that subscribe notification button so you know what's going on. Use your favorite podcatcher app to take us on the go. We will have all those episodes that are in the backlog here shortly in the feed, and we will be back to a regularly scheduled program. We are on Amazon Music, Spotify, and on Apple Podcast. We thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.